Welcome to the NiNe Show. This is the land where there's constant chaos.
Welcome to the
NiNe Show, or the NiNe Show. The NiNe Show.
The NiNe Show.
Got myself
My shoulders are so wide I can't even fit in the screen.
Actually, sometimes I really feel like I'm dumber than myself.
Technically, it's because you suck.
Yep.
But
That is true.
I don't know what to say.
I like how you're like hitting yourself on the head when you're trying to.
Yeah, I'm like, think.
I'm like, fuck, like we think the same. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the NiNe Show. Today we are talking about the extroverted and introverted functions. That's the cognitive functions that were started by Mr. Carl Jung. We're specifically going to be talking about them from the perspective of objective personality. So we're going to be covering OE and DI. Sorry, OE and OI, which is extroverted observing and introverted observing. And we're going to be covering DE and DI, which is extroverted deciding and introverted deciding. So first, we're going to start with the observer functions. I would like to nominate Mr. Manny to start this one.
Yeah, let's get it.
Do it.
I'll start like just okay. So I'm OI over OE, but I'm also sleep consumed. So I do consume as well. So I think the sleep consume animals shares a lot of OI properties that are easy to conflate. So a lot of say consume sleep people that are OE first have kind of that perfectionistic tendencies that you'd relate to OI. Like hence why, for example, Jono, you thought you were INFJ before IP. And it makes sense, like you're consume sleep and NF. So that's like you're always doing the building thing and then also, NF. So it kind of, there's a lot of conflation. So I'm going to try parse out OI from sleep consume and, just kind of try focus on OI alone versus OE.
Sure.
So
what type of OI do you have?
So I have NI first, and I'm NIT, I sleep consume play, NF for my full type. So OI over OE is simply a preference for known information over new information. So for me, I'd rather already have the answers to to whatever problem, even if it's a new problem. I'd rather I have an answer that I already know. If I don't, then I'll go to consume, because consume is my second animal. I'll then consume like new information. And in a day-to-day basis, it's harder to see that preference because we flow through our animals so much. But to me, I'm internally aware of that preference. And I'm also kind of aware I tend to have I have a pride when I feel like I have the answers within me, that kind of thing. Like there's pride within that. When I do have to consume, it's more of a humbling thing. It's like, well, I fucked up, so now I have to do the consuming. So it's like I have to humble myself to consume. That's that kind of emotional.
Right. Yeah, right. Because you're kind of like,
it's a preference. You're
thinking that you're already like you're battling. Yeah, you're battling yourself, really.
Yeah,
you think you have the answer already, but you have to go. Okay,
yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, exactly. So even though consumer is a savior, like OI is always preference. So yeah, that's
cool, man.
That's that.
Nice. Let's hear from Leon.
So I just
What do you
was
have?
thinking of the extroverted observers. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, man. Sounds great. Nice
new mic. Moving freak out about it. The extroverted observers are less personal, usually more free-flowing. For instance, like a savior SE type, though they might not know that, like, say they're just trying to weigh something out, like a 12-ounce chicken or something for their bodybuilding meal. They don't mind if they, get it more or less close to 12. If it's like 11 and a half or like 12 and a half, 13, it's not going to be the hugest deal in the world to them because it's very close. it'll be like a guesstimate, I guess.
Yeah.
You'll hear it also in the language of OE types. Sometimes they'll say, "Let's meet up around 1 p.m." It's never like, "Let's decisively meet at 1 p.m. on the dot." It's always like, a little
One-ish
early, a little
or
late.
two-ish
Or
it's three-ish.
pretty close. Yeah.
I always
And
say
then they
that.
show up 22 minutes late. But just an example, guys. Please
Yeah.
don't get all butthurt. If you're OE and you're on time, we actually appreciate you guys.
Do we?
In contrast, OIs are usually pretty anal about things being specific. So, for instance, NI will pop a blood vessel if somebody's like 12 minutes late when they'll tell somebody to show up at 1 p.m.
Yeah. Or if they're trying to set up a microphone before a recording.
Dude, for real. And that's actually what happened. If you look at my eyes close enough, they popped up. Yeah, so please don't get hurt. Like I said, if you're NI and you're special and you're not rigid, it took me years to work up to being okay with this fool making me late all the time. But the same concept goes for SI too. I'm not leaving out any functions. We're punching at all you today. So
Beautiful.
don't feel more stressed and take things personal if you borrow their phone charger and leave it somewhere else that they normally have it. That will piss them off, and that will piss me off too.
Yeah.
But SI a little bit more because that things are personal deal. You know what I mean? Physical things.
One thing that's interesting about all of that was you were talking a lot about what, like, emotions, like what pisses you off, what pisses people off. So that was like a very NI, but also FI involved. Like it was also, so that, yeah, that's something I noticed.
Thank you.
That's
It's
interesting.
my chance to punch at people.
Cool. Cool, man. So, Asees, what is your perspective on the observers, OE versus OI? What do you have?
Well, there's two ways to do both of them, right? So through consume, which you would sort of use it in conjunction with your DI, or through play, so with the DE, and then with the OI, it would be sleep and blast. So those are like two extremely like they're directly opposed, but they still are trying to do something similar through the OE. And so it's just like which decider, because we're talking about the observers, so it's like which the decider variable just sort of changes the constitution of the filter in regards to the OE. And you can think of it almost the same way with the OI. It's just what the filter does is different in that scenario. Like
saying the deciders are the filters. I like filters.
The deciders like build the filters,
right?
And then the observers are the filters.
Wow.
And so like I noticed this
That's
when I
awesome.
go with Leon. Like I went shopping with him yesterday, and we're both intuitives, but like it's still we're still struggling with the sensory, but like it's still roughly the same thing where we were looking for one thing in particular that we couldn't find. We wanted like 2 or 3 things, and we found those fast, but there was one thing that we couldn't find. And so we went to the area where it should have been, and Leon was just going like he went back and forth, and he was like going like this,
I
like
was going ape. Demon consumed full on.
Ape.
Like, where's my meth?
that's pretty much that's how it felt. I'm like, because I noticed him, and even when we were walking down the aisles to like get to where it should have been, because like we had to find out where that was because they had rearranged the whole thing. Fucking hell.
Dude, by the way, HEB, you guys get your shit together.
They do. The aisles are like this small. Like, let's have an observer freak out right now. They're this small. Like I was walking. Fuck whatever. And so we
Call
went.
yourself.
Yeah. So.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Uh-oh. It's me and you, Jono. Should we?
They stopped. What happened?
So I'll take it from Leon's, what Leon was trying. Nah, I don't know what he's trying to say. But no, what he was saying was pretty interesting. So, DI.
Yeah.
Always, and that makes sense though. It does kind of make sense because let's say like for me and you, your NE. NE is you looking at reality.
Right.
SE is me looking at reality. Your internal system is SI, my internal system is NI. It's like you would interpret things so kind of differently, you know?
It's like alternative perspectives, right?
Yeah.
You see
cool.
things, concepts, and not necessarily reality, but you see things just from a different perspective ultimately.
Yeah. I was talking to NI people and they were saying how NE is different to NI in the sense that NE is very kind of like, it's aware of the concepts situationally. Like it's constantly aware of like, let's say
in the
you
moment,
enter,
like real time.
Exactly. Like if you enter a room with someone, like you entering the room, you can be like, oh, that thing reminds me of this concept. Then you say it and then the person relates because it's related to what's happening now.
Right.
NI isn't good at that. It wants it to be prepared. It's not good at doing it like in the moment as much.
Yeah.
So it's like it's interesting. That difference is so interesting.
I know, dude.
I need to make sure where we were. Okay. Yeah, so sorry about that interruption.
The store.
But yeah, Leon, he just sort of like has his OI plan and he's just saying like, does this fit? No. Does this fit? No. Does this fit? No. And he did that with like the general items, you know, because we're both ends. And so he's like, is that what I want? You know? And then I was like looking at one thing and I was like sort of giving it more like the time of day to actually like tell me whether or not it was the thing, right? I was contending with it in its entirety instead of like, this is what I want. No, it didn't work. And so we ended up doing the thing and I did it. I found it through the second way to OE, which is play. I found another guy. Leon saw him too, but he was just like so focused. And I'm like, okay, I need to ask him before he just pulls me along with him. And so I asked the guy and he pulled it up and he took us to the other side of the fucking, oh my God. But it was there. So we would have never found it. So,
Hiding.
yeah, it was like hiding. It was face down. It was inside. It was like, oh my God.
And it's where we entered through the store as well. And they changed the whole store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
There was a bunch of ladies that were like, you're not looking for a thermometer, are you? And I'm like, no, I'm just looking for a freaking brush. And like, your thermometer's right here where the brush is supposed to be because I can see the label.
Yeah.
So it was just a whole day of observer freakouts.
Dude, we needed to record it and put it on Instagram, and we didn't because it was too much.
It would have been
cool.
Wow. People would have actually gotten mad.
But we did have Asees fall on his ass a couple of times.
Yeah, I saw that.
He totally fell on his butt. Oh, man.
Cool. All right. I guess it's my turn. So I have a bit of information here. Basically, so I'm going to describe OE and OI just in a general perspective or in a general term. OE to me is like a receptor to the external world. So you have like this thing which is just like constantly in data.
Antenna.
Big antenna. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Good way to put it. Just actively pulling data, observations about the world around it, and just like observing the world through the senses. Now, I know, sense. If you're high sensory versus high NE, high SE versus high NE, you're still going to use your senses, but it's more like what the filter of what you're actually pulling in. So NE types are like, really just pulling in like the concepts and like looking at more like shapes and patterns and structure, whereas SE is more just looking like directly at what a thing is, like the colors and like looking at the words and the text and the fonts and stuff, like more in detail of what's actually coming in. And OI is like the filing system. So it's storing and categorizing information internally. And people that I've come across that have high OI generally have a good memory. And I think it's because like they're constantly just organizing the information in their mind. Like it's just kind of going into this like internal structure. Like you said, Manny, like SI is the internal SI is building a system, and you've got people with NI who've got like an internal framework or internal structure. So they're likely to remember things based off their own internal organization.
Yeah.
And I think like specifically for SI, it's more much better at like remembering like a historical timeline. So they're really able to like pinpoint events in a certain like, and this is how it works for me. Like I have demon SI, it's masculine, so it's tied to my second animal. So I do have some kind of leverage on it, but I'm generally finding myself remembering things based on events. I'm like, if I'm trying to remember what happened, I try to remember, okay, what year was it? What happened in that year? And I'll try to remember specific events throughout the year. I'm like, okay, it either happened between this event and this event, so therefore it must be in the middle somewhere. And I'll like really like try to trace back in history, like a history book of like when the thing happened. What am I up to now? NI. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go.
Yeah, you go ahead. Sorry.
Investigative.
Do you have a question?
I just wanted to sort of respond to that because it's so. Whenever somebody explains masculine SI to me, I'm like, oh my god, I wish I could do that. and you said how OI is like I think a catalog was the word you used, and how it's just so whatever the information is, it's organized in that way, and that the ability for recall is so high. That's something that I've noticed between Leon and I, is that he has better recall than I do, but I have better recognition than he does. And so I get, when I look at something, I get reminded of the things that are perhaps relevant to it. Whereas he'll have, like when he looks at it, like before going into it, he'll have what he already wants. And so the difference between that is like recall. The recall is actually organized. It's less. It's because it's not all at once, like with the recognition, but you know, that's how I like it.
Sorry, the connection
you
just
hear
went.
us?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Just it went to like
Okay, yeah.
super slow motion for like 20 seconds.
Other dimensional kind of.
I wonder if the audience heard that correctly or clearly.
Can you repeat that last sentence?
Yeah, repeat that. Yeah.
He said I'm more handsome than you.
How good's your recall? Let's test your recall. Can you repeat the last sentence?
His recall sucks.
I said that that the right before the connection went unstable, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I said that the recall is more organized, like inherently, because like you are specifically calling on like specific things.
Yes.
Whereas recognition is sort of more just all at once. But that's how I like it, you know.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And I guess like for an OI savior, like because they're constantly in a state of like organization and they're limiting the amount of information that comes in, it's like everything is like they've got their filing cabinets in front of them all the time. Just, oh yeah, over here, over here, over here, over here. It's awesome.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about that a little bit as well, because me and Manny have feminine OI, but the masculine sensory still. So wouldn't our recognition be decent as well? Well, I mean, obviously, like it would probably differ a lot, being intuitive savior, and also he has a double activation on the SE, and I don't. But I also was raised in a military family where it's like so important to recognize details.
Yeah.
And like I couldn't get in a car ride without being quizzed every whenever random minutes.
So you're forced to look at you use your demons.
Yeah, I was forced. What was that when we're driving? I don't know. You're the driver. Doesn't matter. No, you have to pay attention. It was a brown bag that was flying through the air.
Dude, you missed a brown bag. How could you?
Yeah, for real. But okay. I love Manny's laugh.
It's so good.
Oh,
That one.
Yeah. Okay. More specifically on savior OE types. So I mentioned this. They have good attention to detail. I can notice small changes in their environment. Giant vacuum. It's like they have like this vacuum on their heads, and they're just constantly just pulling in data.
Kirby's.
All the time. Yeah, exactly. Sucking in information.
Kirby's.
OI is a demon.
Sucking in general.
Sucking in ones and zeros. Yeah, so lead OEs, sucking information, they have OI as a demon. Therefore, they do not really care, or like they're not defaulted to organize the info. And
It's like a
OEs
library
struggle.
with used books.
Yeah,
You actually open them and they're all over the place.
I guess so. But fuck, you made me lose my train of thought, dude.
Work it out.
dare you.
Dude, I'm last and I have any at the top.
Yeah.
What was
dare
I
you.
saying? Basically, what I was trying to say is that OE types struggle to focus. So, because it's like we're trying to turn this receptor off, trying to stop the information coming in, and we have to like really like focus on our information to share it out. But like as we're doing the blast or as we're using our OI, we just want to look at things coming in. Like when I'm talking, like I'm constantly looking at people to gauge their reaction. It's gonna fuck my blast up. I'm constantly like trying to get data in, but I should be getting data out.
Yeah.
Make a sense?
Yeah.
Did you say datter?
Data.
Data.
Jonathan, I actually do the same thing. Like Leon's girlfriend Nika thought she took me seriously when I made a joke that I have autism because she mentioned that I never look. This was a while back, but that I never looked at her or even Leon for that matter when I was talking. It's just because like looking at you just too much. It's too much. Like just let me get out what I have to, and then I'll gauge your reaction.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's too much.
I think that's a
hilarious.
missing blasting. Like it's the same for me. Like that's how I feel as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought it was just because I was ugly or something.
You're not ugly, bro.
You're fishing for a compliment. You're fishing for us to be like, nah, man.
I
You're
ain't
hella
fishing.
hot."
I just set up a trap though.
He needs
And I
someone
trap.
to validate his FI.
Everybody comment
Yeah,
right
exactly.
now. 1 out of 10. What number am I?
Oh my god.
I'm not going to be offended. You can go personality and physical.
Nice.
Defo gonna be offended.
All right. So one more question before we move
1010 for all the EP.
One more question I have before we move on is I wanted to understand from the OI types, do you guys struggle with awareness? Like, because you're constantly focused on looking on the known, pushing out the new, or trying to block the new from coming in.
What
you
kind of
aware?
awareness?
Just aware of
Yeah.
your environment. Like, do you
My
notice
environment, yes.
changes? Do you notice like when someone gets a haircut, that they haven't
Yes,
seen
Yeah.
for a while?
very easily.
Yeah, like
The masculine SE. It's like,
Right.
is there something like new in the real environment? Yes. Like I was the only one who noticed a couple years ago when my what do you call it? My supervisor at work got like 2 inches cut off her hair. And no one noticed. And I was
hell.
like, hey, you got a haircut, huh? It looks good. And she's like, thank you. You're the only one who noticed. And she's
yeah.
like beating
Nice,
everybody
dude.
else about it. And I was like, well, because I pay attention to stuff that doesn't matter to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, similarly, it doesn't seem like an issue. But then again, me and Leon could be, because we can't see ourselves, right? So we could be being like, oh, these few times is evidence to us. But, like, in general, maybe we are unaware and we don't actually know. So that's something to take into consideration. But in general,
I can talk to that.
I guess it depends on the pattern. If the pattern in my organized like box has changed at all, I'm going to notice it. Like, don't steal my bread and chips and my hummus.
Don't even get me started on that. Like, yeah,
I'm getting you started, bro.
That's
Good content.
Like, that I'm
Don't steal my
very
shit.
yeah, and that's the only thing that like really pisses me off. But like in general,
Other than ISFPs.
No, that's it. Every type is
That's sick, bro.
equally.
Every type is great, except
And
for
They're great at sucking.
I was gonna say something, but held myself.
all right.
Yeah. So like in general, I think I'm aware of the environment, but what I'm not good at is my focus. Sometimes I'm like, I know I'm just in my head. I'm not present. So I am aware of what's going on, but like sometimes I can just do things like half present. I'm like, and I guess it's the SE. It's very just like messy. So I can just go with it.
Sometimes I put the SE in messy.
Just not. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
I'm just,
you SE
just not
types.
engaged. Yeah, exactly.
Always messy.
So that's it.
Like, what do I say?
Would you like me to do it? I mean, I could do it.
Yeah,
but
I'd
you're
love,
the.
I'd love for you to do that. Do it.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. So we just covered the observers, both extroverted and introverted, our opinions on them, and how we sort of see them playing out and interacting with each other. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Peace out.